Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we have Hillary Clinton versus Sarah Palin. So I'm going to do this as if it's a 2020 or 2016 presidential election prediction. I don't think there would be a difference other than an age factor, but that wouldn't really matter. It didn't really matter in the 2016 election. She still got the majority of votes compared to where they used age as an issue and health as an issue, but I don't think it'll be really a factor deciding tens of millions of votes. So if we're looking at this, it'll probably be a 2016 election prediction in the thumbnail, but let's just approach it as if it was. So let's say Sarah Palin becomes the Republican nominee, chooses Jeb Bush as her running mate, and this was also a suggestion. So this is going to be really just two unlikable candidates running against each other. So it's going to be worse than Trump versus Clinton. I think it'll be harder for conservatives to really rally behind Sarah Palin after what she did in 2008, and she's not really liked even in her home state anymore. If Sarah Palin was the nominee in 2008, she would have lost Alaska to Sarah Palin. No, Hillary Clinton would have won Alaska against Sarah Palin because she was unpopular. Sorry, 2012. So there was just a lot of hatred for Sarah Palin amongst conservatives after the 2008 election. Then she became a rising star in the Tea Party, and now she's kind of crazy. From my view, this election really turned off everyone. It was the worst election ever, and this one is also one of the worst elections ever if this happened, because Sarah Palin, extremely unlikable. Hillary Clinton, who wasn't likable in 2016. Palin wasn't liked in 2008. So both of these candidates ran losing campaigns. I think Sarah Palin actually helped John McCain. I think John McCain would have fared off worse without Sarah Palin, just because Sarah Palin brought out some of the Republican women vote that would have voted for Obama otherwise. I think that 2008 was a Democrats' year, regardless of who ran. But I think Sarah Palin helped John McCain. But the country saw it as her hurting him. She's baffled too many times to count. And I think that will really show in the way that people would vote against her in the ballot box. So I think Hillary Clinton would easily win this election, just because of the fact that Palin does not have the Trump factor. She does not have people that are afraid to say they are voting for her. She does not have the white working class rallying behind her. She does not have the tired white working class vote, because she's doing the same thing along with Jeb Bush, who's also the establishment, so there's no anti-establishment vote. As for Hillary Clinton, she's choosing Bernie Sanders. So I think Bernie Sanders could have been the best choice for her in the 2016 election. Not only would it unify the Democratic Party, but I think it would balance out a conservative Democrat with a far-left Democrat. I think that Palin choosing Bush is also a good thing, because Sarah Palin is a radical conservative, Tea Party type conservative, and Jeb Bush is a little bit more of a moderate. But I think Jeb Bush and Clinton are both perceived the establishment. So I think that they'll vote the same way they did in 2012. I don't think that there will be one anti-establishment candidate. So West Coast obviously going to Hillary Clinton. All the safe Clinton states I'm going to fill in now. Utah would go to Palin. I don't see a change there. She's a conservative. And I think that'll really help her. Nebraska, 2nd Congressional District, I'm going to leave as a toss-up. Indiana, that one doesn't have the Mike Pence wave, so I'm going to leave it as a toss-up. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, that one was easily going to Clinton. Actually, the Rust Belt I don't see as a toss-up, just because Palin is not that candidate. She's not the one to make it competitive, and she would ultimately hurt the Republican Party than help it. But I do think she could make Virginia competitive, something that Donald Trump didn't do. He made it somewhat competitive, but she eventually won the state. In Maine, I'm going to leave one of the congressional districts as toss-up, but I do think it'll ultimately go to Hillary Clinton, depending on where we land throughout the map. New Hampshire, I think, would go to Clinton. Virginia, I'll leave as a toss-up. North Carolina, sorry, toss-up. Georgia is a toss-up. New Mexico, I think that one would go to Hillary Clinton, along with Nevada and Colorado. I don't really see them going. I don't really see them being toss-ups with Palin on the other side of the ticket. In Arizona, I think that one would go to Bush because of the Latino vote. Along with Alaska, I think that one would go to Palin and Bush. So right now we have a lot less swing states than we did in 2016. In 2016, we had Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Colorado, New Mexico, Nevada, Arizona, New Hampshire, and a couple other states in the beginning of the campaign, like Kansas, Texas, South Carolina, and for a small moment in time, Connecticut was deemed a toss-up. So, and Minnesota. So really, this map is a lot more favoring of the Democrats. All Hillary Clinton has to do is win one more state besides Maine and Nebraska, and yeah. So let's just keep looking through where we have. So let's go through Nebraska first. I think that Clinton could pull off a victory there, since Palin was on the McCain ticket and McCain lost this congressional district. I think that Palin really helped McCain, and if she helped him, then I think she would do worse than him nationwide. So I do think that Hillary Clinton could win that congressional district. We're looking in Iowa. I don't really see it coming out for the same way it did for Trump. Palin, sure, she's a conservative, but Hillary Clinton was polling ahead until more scandals started coming out, until Trump started appealing to the rural base. And I don't think Palin can do that the same way Trump did. Trump was that I'm not a politician factor. Remember, Iowa was safe Democratic in 2008 for Barack Obama, and it was a Bush state. So that was a huge swing. And then in 2012, it was also safe for Obama. Wisconsin was more of a toss-up than Iowa, and that was a huge surprise. So Iowa overwhelmingly voted for Trump. I think it'll come back. I think it'll stay with the Democrats because they haven't voted Republican yet, and I think that they'll stay with the Democrats because I think Palin won't be able to appeal to them the same way Donald Trump did. And Palin has a lot of things behind her that could hurt her. Hillary Clinton got a free pass on some of the scandals because a lot of them were behind a long time ago. Palin's was recent. It was 8 years ago. Hillary Clinton's Benghazi scandal and email scandal was recent, but I mean, if they bring up things like Bill Clinton, like Trump did, attacking Bill Clinton, I don't think it'll have the same effect because Donald Trump was able to rally anyone behind anything. That's just the type of guy he was. He was extremely energetic. He was extremely rallying, and I think that he could rally anyone behind any idea with the right mindset. So I don't think Palin is the person to really challenge Hillary Clinton in a state that went for Trump overwhelmingly and still win it, because Palin is a bad candidate in my view. This is not a liberal biased video. This is just plain facts. Sarah Palin is less liked than Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump was he had a 30% approval rating when he was elected, and now it's 38%, so it has increased, but approval ratings don't really matter if both candidates are low, but if one is lower than the other, then they usually lose the election. Clinton's was lower than Trump's. So Indiana, I'm going to go back to that one. Ohio, that one voted for Obama. I think it'll stay in the Democratic column because, again, Palin won't be the one to say, hey, white working class voters, come out and vote for me. I'll bring you your jobs back. She's not that candidate. She's not the one to appeal to them. Virginia, I think that the youth vote could give her Virginia along with North Carolina. I think that one could flip too because Palin is a conservative, but I could possibly see North Carolina flipping. Palin would not be perceived as a good candidate, but conservatives somewhat like her. I think that more of the liberal and moderate Republicans who are just Republicans, and some Republicans in name only, would vote for Hillary Clinton over Palin because they don't trust Palin in the Oval Office. So in Georgia, I don't see turnout coming out the same way it did for the same way it did in 2016 because I think Palin would be liked by the conservatives in Georgia. Donald Trump wasn't liked, which is why it was so close in a state as big as itself. And the demographics aren't really right for a Clinton victory there, regardless of who the candidate is. So we have Florida. I think that one would go to Palin and Bush, just because of the fact that Jeb Bush is from there, and I think that that being his home state will win him the state by a small margin. And I think that the senior citizens that would like to see Palin in office could elect her there. But I think the youth vote for Bernie Sanders could really help Hillary Clinton in that state. Ultimately, I do think it'll come down to around the same margin as it was in 2012. But this time, the losing campaign takes the state. Let's look in Indiana and Maine. Maine, I'm going to give all the electoral votes to Hillary Clinton, just because of the fact that the rural voters will not come out for Sarah Palin the same way they did for Trump. That's going to be something that's going to hurt her campaign if she doesn't choose, if she ran back then. If we look in Indiana, this one voted for Obama in 2008, voted for Romney in 2012, and I do think that there could be a possible victory here for the Clinton campaign. She would have to play all her cards right. She would have to rally the same Sanders voters that voted for Sanders in the primary over her. So let's say, for instance, she wins Indiana. That gives her all of the electoral votes out of the entire Rust Belt. So really, if she got Indiana, that would be a huge referendum nationally. But if states like Georgia, Arizona, and Florida aren't flipping, Indiana's not flipping either. So I'm going to leave that one with Palin and Bush. So the final electoral map count is 319 for Clinton and Sanders, and 219 for Palin and Bush. So this was my second video for today. Sorry, I'll possibly upload a Trump discussion about his chances in 2020 later on today. If not, I'll just upload another prediction video. So thank you guys for watching. Subscribe in the center and watch my past election night on the right. And thank you all for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.